sort of.
Am I successful? Am I competent? You know, am I achieving things? Am I respected? If you start to look at these indicators,
Yes, I am. Yes, I can answer yes to all of those things. I am achieving things. I am respected. The answer is yes.
of your life.
There's only one person on the planet who has disrespected me in the last 5 years, and I have open, police cases against this person. Everyone else in my life loves me and respects me. Every last other person that I can think of. There's like 1 or 2 people in my life who aren't like that, and the other, 300 people who are.
End up being happier.
Now, I do need to say that Andrew Tate himself has said he isn't red pill and that he finds the whole concept and most of the people involved to be cringe, but his unwillingness to co-opt the term is irrelevant to the reality, and that is his talking points are almost identical to the whole space, and his popularity is what has accelerated the movement. And I do mean accelerated, because even without Andrew Tate or any other manosphere figurehead, this was an inevitability in modern society. We were already headed down this path. Andrew Tate...
If this is what every man on the planet is supposed to look like, I don't think the world would be a very good place. I think it would be a bunch of thuggy dudes standing around on corners and shit, like it looks like right now. And I'm sorry, that image is not appealing to me. I don't want everybody looking like thug gangsters on the corner and shit.
Never the cause. He was simply the most prevalent symptom. Why do I say this? Well, let's answer the question of why it exists in the first place. It'll probably only take you a few minutes to Google search if you've not already seen these very shocking statistics when it comes to the rise of loneliness in men, especially young men. This is the real epidemic that is going to claim more lives than any contagious disease, and it's eroding the very foundation of modern society. For the record, this problem does not just envelop men, but it is more prevalent statistically for a multitude of reasons. On the face of it, men have less friends than ever before, they spend less time socializing with the friends that they do have than ever before, they're virgins for far longer, have sex less frequently overall, and they are self-deleting at an alarmingly high rate, with numbers trending upwards greater than ever before. They're also less likely to seek mental health assistance, more likely to turn to drugs or substance abuse to cope with these factors which don't even play into the self-deleting stat, and are overall becoming increasingly disenfranchised with the world, or most importantly, their place within it. So to answer the question of why Andrew Tate, why the red pill, why the manosphere, Sneeko, podcasts like Fresh and Fit, the red pill godfather Rollo Tomasi, and many others exist, it's very simple. It's because they need to exist. Supply and demand. These people didn't just appear for no reason.
Nope.
They arrived
a lot of
at
money.
the right time,
a lot of money in
with
it.
the right message. And that is obviously not me giving them my rubber stamp of approval, as I believe each one of the people I just listed, as well as the majority of the manosphere space, is a counterintuitive detriment to young men's lives. For reasons that will mostly
Testify,
go over in the next
Kira.
section. This is just me saying that this movement didn't arrive overnight for no reason and brainwash hundreds of millions of men. The male loneliness epidemic was already here. It's a cancer eating society. The manosphere presented itself
because
as
women don't sleep with
chemotherapy,
us,
bringing with it total destruction of the body, but without the added benefit of potentially eradicating the cancer. Not to say there are no good
because women don't
pieces of
sleep with
advice
us.
from any of these
They're scared
people,
to.
or a well-rationed person
I don't
can
blame
learn
them.
a few real truths from these spaces, such as eating right, exercising, socializing, and trying to better your situation financially. But these few truths are things almost anybody could tell you without the added baggage of what is adjacent to the grift of these male self-help gurus. I'm of course talking about conspiracy theories and hatred.
Obesity comes from you Jews affecting our media with your fucking...
you're fat.
No, you guys brought McDonald's and all that shit.
One of the very few men on earth I do trust, good old Alex Jones, he said this 2 months before 9/11.
They don't want you to be masculine. The biggest threat to their agenda is an independent, free-thinking man.
And to answer the last question of who cares, well, I know on social media nobody really cares about the fact that young men in particular are suffering, because it's cool to be inclusive and empathetic to everybody, except for those you deem to have power as a group, despite the fact that most average men have little to no power at all over their own lives, let alone society. But you should care, because this is a reflection of that society. Not just that, but you probably have men in your lives as well that are struggling with things like this. Brothers, fathers, sons, cousins, friends, or old acquaintances. I don't think it can be simultaneously true that we say everybody should get help, they all deserve compassion and understanding, but then demonize a clear growing trend.
Fucking frame rate loss.
In societal downturns just because it's cool to shit on men online. Which would probably sound better if it wasn't me, a man, saying this, but I am, because it is important. The rise of the Tate cells, as well as the growing incel movement, hatred of women, conspiracy nuts, and a whole other host of issues exist because as a society, this issue is prevalent and persistent. I think society in general is too busy looking at the surface of those, idiots who follow this stupid rhetoric to understand the reason that they do is because they're lost and these people are telling them that it's okay. These grifters that are making them believe all these crazy, wild things are the only ones who are compassionately speaking to these men. They're making them believe, and the truth is, they are speaking pure lies, designed almost entirely for personal gain and enrichment. So let's talk about the real red pill. The reality of the matter is, the red pill does have some merit when taken at face value. There have been shifts in society that resulted in vastly different circumstances for everybody, but especially for young men. For starters, society has moved beyond where most people live, and if they live where society now world, that as a sentence doesn't make sense, right? Let me explain. Society for most younger people, as well as for most lonely people, exists online. Their society exists on social media. But where is it that they need to be in order to actually better their situation?
Not all of it.
With real people.
Not all of it at all.
Interactions and social situations. Compounding. The more time people spend online, whether as an escape from the pressures of real life because they don't feel that they fit in, or for comfort, the less social they're going to become, the more awkward any potential interactions will go, and of course this leads to them being less and less likely to find the meaningful friendships or relationships that they need to live happily and normally. It's the self-fulfilling prophecy. And this is the problem that gets worse for the younger generation, especially after lockdowns where people have grown up on social media, hang out in person less, homeschool, go to college online, work remotely, date using apps, and generally skew towards hobbies that isolate them further. To put it simply, they spend less time with real people and therefore are less confident or capable people in face-to-face society, which is where they probably have the highest chance to meet people who are going to give them the things that they're missing in life and remove that loneliness. A lot of people nowadays have either grown up not learning how to socialize because of social media and the internet age, or they've forgotten, whichever one it is, they currently are not equipped with the tools to navigate the real world. You only have to look at cultures like Japan, where they literally have a word for this, ikikomori. We also have words in the West, neets, incel is obviously one that people throw around a lot when people are just, really bad at talking to women and, of course, are involuntary celibate. Losers, when people don't have friends and can't seem to get into good social situations. This is a problem that transcends barriers of culture. This is how you know it just exists and it's growing in popularity just due to the way that people interact with the world. This, of course, plays into the next problem, which is dating in 2023. Most people believe that due to the shift of society being online, there is no alternative to meet potential friends or romantic relationships without dating apps. Instead, they find themselves swiping on Tinder.
Oh my God.
And common sense dictates results are directly tied to one.
I was on Tinder for 5 years, but I've never thought of Tinder as a dating app. It's a hookup app. That's not dating. That's a meat market. And anybody who says differently is a liar.
Let's be honest, most of us are not that good looking, and on an app that is basically unhealthy fast food, of course people are going to pick the tastiest snacks. There isn't nutritional value there that they care about because they're there for a quick bite, and whatever looks the nicest is going to be picked. The common sense thing here is that this has nothing to do with women or men. Of course, the red pill does present it as such, where women only want a 6-foot-tall Giga Chad. This just has everything to do with the fact of the matter. If you show someone 10 people without any real indication of other redeemable or disqualifying traits, asking them to pick from the list using exclusively only their physical appearance, of course the result will mean the most attractive people get the most results. This leads to men becoming disenfranchised and thinking that women only want them if they're this thing that they are not, which essentially removes all of their responsibility in the situation. What are they going to do? Grow taller? Get more attractive? When you take the problem out of somebody's hands and their own ability to influence it, of course they're going to turn to things that are external and start blaming the people that are making these decisions, because they can't blame themselves, can they? Obviously, there is a factor that society has moved forward for women as well, giving them greater opportunities for careers and for pay. This has essentially killed the one main selling point every man on the planet had in the dating economy of old times, which is an income. Now men bring more to the table than just a paycheck at a time when men seem more lost in their own value than ever before. Also, because of healthcare increasing, it means that women can have children later, so they're not rushed by biology to have children when they're very young, which means they're going to mature and make better decisions about which type of people they're going to have in their life for the long term. Now, is this the common man's fault? Sure, somewhat, a little bit, because everybody can change and they all bear responsibility for their own circumstances to an extent, but it's also just the way society now exists, and it's kind of happened without anybody really paying too much attention until the problem now exists. And realistically, it's not a question of right or wrong. All of this and much more leads to the bigger overall problem of why the red pill and manosphere has grown so exponentially. What do I mean? Well, in just about every walk of life, it's easier to blame something that isn't you. If you are this average unsocialized man who has little to no friends, no luck with the opposite sex, life's passing you by and you just don't know what to do about it, you've got no confidence, and your options for who to blame are yourself or society, chances are you're going to blame society. It's just easier to do. It's the self-defeating reality that if you do make the choice to blame society, it's going to change nothing about the circumstance and only send you down a path of manosphere, which is going to be further self-destruction. But that's what people are doing, whether knowingly or not. Now, of course, there are a million social stigmas of talking about problems or opening up emotionally to people, which for whatever reason is frowned upon as a man, but even less likely to happen since, again, statistically men these days have less friends, and with growing manosphere influence, those friends are more likely to tell you to stop being a pussy and watch a video about Andrew Tate with Giga Chad music in the background, because of course that will fix all of your problems. Talking about them would be something only a beta male does. You obviously can't talk about it on social media either, because if I've seen anything about this, it's that people are just going to come in and say you don't deserve to have problems, because you're probably just a man. So of course, when nobody's talking to you, nobody's listening to you, nobody's really representing your problems, when somebody shows up who looks like they're in shape, who looks like they're a really masculine man, who's doing all the things that you want to do, who lives the life that you would love to live, and he's the only person talking to you, of course you're probably going to listen. And these are just some of the factors that led us to where we are today. I'm sure there's going to be more, but I could be talking about this all day without addressing the next point, which is that the red pill is just capitalism and greed from lying narcissists who are LARPing as the saviors of young men, while instead just causing them harm. The advice they give is terrible for 97% of their audience, meaning that they're selling out the vast majority, and the 3% who wind up becoming wealthy following their advice will make the situation even worse for the other 97%. It's a toxic wasteland of a few useful pieces of life advice wrapped up in hate that will poison an impressionable man's brain into becoming a worse person, and therefore even less likely to ever find a woman who would want anything to do with them. Now, if there's something else the internet has taught me, hate is a very powerful tool. Once you recognize that the easiest way to build influence is to turn one group against another, you will see it in everything that people do online. Politics is probably the most prevalent one. It's us versus them. We are the righteous, they are the evil. Everything we do is okay, everything they do is bad. If we do the same things, it's for good reasons, but they're doing it for bad ones. Every conflict is black and white. Why? Because it's easy and it feels good. The barrier for entry to this conflict is super low. It's way more accessible than any form of
I disagree that they got this way.
It's easy to digest. It simply works. And that's exactly what the manosphere has done to convince these men who already were willing to believe things because they didn't want to blame themselves. They've told them it's team men versus team women. They use anecdotes of when a woman does something bad or wrong and pretend as if they're not anecdotes at all, that there can't be good women and bad women, like there's good men and bad men. It's just all evidence that women are built this way and they are the problem. So they're making everything simple by design. And I can't say for sure that all the people doing this are lying or grifting, but I can say that given enough time, each one of them gets caught living a contradictory life to what they tell their audience to live. Whether it's saying paying for sex is for losers and you shouldn't do that, and then being caught on sugar baby websites trying to find women to pay to hang out with.
You approached me on a sugar daddy website and asked me to be your sugar baby and then couldn't afford my allowance.
Never did.
He couldn't afford my $10,000 allowance a month and said, haha, that's funny. Why don't you just come on my podcast instead?
Or saying sex workers like OnlyFans girls are the bane of society, and you're platforming them constantly, which results in their audience subbing to them and making them more successful. Or of course having those women on the podcast and having sex with them, yet calling them 304s, which is the red pill slang for hoes. Or maybe it's when they say that single mothers are used goods and they're worthless, but then get caught being married to a previous single mother who they lied about and said that her daughter was his niece because he was just too ashamed to admit that he loved a single mother and her daughter.
I got a 13-year-old niece that stays here at least twice a week.
And so as we now look at her application on the screen and go to the section describing her household, it states, do you have dependents? Yes. Does dependent live with you? Yes. Dependent's age, 10 years old.
Or of course when they call out girls for being fake and having plastic surgery and using makeup, but then get hair plugs, liposuction, fake teeth, and use makeup on their own podcasts. Maybe it's saying that men should never settle for a girl who has had a lot of sexual partners, but sleeping with every attractive woman that they can.
A lot of girls are hoes. A lot of girls don't deserve a relationship. A lot of girls don't deserve marriage. And I know this is kind of controversial, but this is what I tell guys. Tell me you need to be at least 35 years old.
Disgusting, dude.
I've had sex with 50 girls.
Thus creating a world full of their alleged biggest problem and fucking up for all the guys they're supposed to be helping. The entire red pill space is basically rules for thee and not for me. Some of the funniest claims that you can disprove immediately, just if you've lived a real life at all, are that women are more than happy to let their boyfriend or husband cheat on them, so long as that man is high value enough, meaning she will share her romantic partner out of fear that she couldn't get anybody so good, ignoring the fact that this person would then not be good to most women because they're not just out to use you as an ATM and live that life. This is not how adult relationships work with the vast majority of people.
Not at all.
Essentially, the whole red pill seems to be a way to justify living the life of a teenage boy's dream, sleeping with a different Instagram model or OnlyFans girl every night, telling everyone who disagrees with the red pill that they are a beta male, blue-pilled soy boy. But this is a lie. The whole red pill is a lie. You only have to engage with the simplest concept to understand that. For example, these guys preach that the way to break free of all your problems is to become a high-value man, meaning that you're in shape and wealthy. The percentage of people who are in shape and wealthy is like 3% or lower. So by that definition, it cannot happen to 97% of their audience, meaning they're giving very specific advice to a very small number of people, but the vast majority of people are listening and it isn't solving any of their massive problems, it's actually making it worse. Maybe if you are a multimillionaire who's in good shape, you can treat women the way that they do. But the problem is that when the vast majority of their audience is hearing that advice and seeing how they live, and then they're treating women the same way, that's not helping them, that is hurting them. And since the title of this video will be something about how incredibly successful and profitable the business of exploiting lonely men is, let's look at how successful it is. Fresh and Fit is probably the biggest self-help guru red pill podcast, and they're pulling in tens of millions of views per month on just YouTube alone, which used to be, before they got demonetized, easily over $50,000 a month just in ads, without product placement, without donations from their fans, without their courses that they sell, without their other platforms like Rumble.
It's almost like Satan is flexing his muscles, and it's the red pill. And if you go against it at all, you're just a cuck, and you should be raped and taken advantage of, and you're a slut, and you're a 3 and 4 or whatever. Like you're not a Chad, you're not a Karen or whatever. It's like weird. It's like this weird Republican thug speak is how I view it. I'm sorry, but I view it like it's Republican thug speak designed around keeping women down and keeping minorities down. It sucks, but I mean, like, I'm sorry. It's just what it sounds like to me. It's what it looks like to me.
And you don't have to go far to see just how low effort and low class this space can be in terms of the people that can pull in millions of views, earning hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions a year.
Yeah, morality and YouTube, I don't think mix very much.
He's a VTuber of a low animated JPEG vampire who never shows his face, and his entire content is reacting to women on TikTok, telling his audience of bitter, angry, and lonely men that all the women on the videos are used up 304s who no one will ever love, and how it's all their own fault. It's basically not giving anybody advice, just a space to come where they can point at women and say, haha, that's your fault, you didn't love me, so it's good that you're upset and bad things are happening in your life. It's plain and simple, people just feeling content to live in hate. In the real world, the solution to men's problems don't need all of this, and it definitely doesn't need all the conspiracy theories, anti-Semitism, racism, and other nonsense that gets platformed at the same time by all these podcasts and manosphere grifters. Obviously, I've acknowledged the problem is real, that there is a growing number of men who are really struggling with how to live their life. But there are things that they can do. And I'm also sure that these platforms or these people do sometimes.
It's not that hard to be a man. It's not that fucking hard to be a man. A man should be mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally available to his partner, his children, his partner's children, his community, and the children in his community. That's his job. It's a simple one. Once you understand it, memorize it, you begin to understand that that's all it really is. As long as you're mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally available to the people around you all the time, instead of shutting them out or any of this. See, I'm guilty of shutting them out, but see, the difference is I was trespassed against. I'm permitted this morally. I was trespassed on. I'm allowed to shut them out. You know, I have a reason to. These guys shut them out because they're scared of them. I shut them out because they tried to kill me.
Give good advice, and people have made positive steps in their life due to that advice and would claim that they've been helped by Andrew Tate and the Red Pill and things like that. I'm not saying that that's not possible, but there's a limit to the advice that they're giving where it goes overboard into very, very unhelpful things. Of course, you should definitely go to the gym, you should eat right, you should sleep at a regular time for 8 hours if you can. Most importantly, you should find hobbies that put you in the real world with your peers. Work at socializing, find people who like the things that you do, and of course treat people like they're individuals who deserve to start out with a blank slate of who they are and not with a list of preconceived and negative attributes.
Yeah, that whole culture, I think their whole thing is, oh, everybody's somebody who should be shot with guns, and women are this thing that should be dominated, and people of other race are should be dominated, and I should have all the money, and I should have all the houses and all this stuff, and it just sounds like a rich white man behaving badly. It kind of does. It's like it's affluenza a little bit. It's not rich all the time either. It's like hateful white men. It's bigoted white men trying to hide as normal people.
You were true while profiting from doing so. For every negative anecdote that you hear, you can also just find a positive one too. So this is actually a huge problem in society now, and if you were paying attention, you saw this coming a long time ago. Even before Andrew Tate showed up and accelerated the movement forward and into the mainstream, there were communities just full of hating women, like the Red Pill subreddit, the incel forums. These things existed and were growing exponentially in popularity. So where does all this end? Well, who knows? The issue is that this problem is yet again turning into another internet war, where it's us versus them and people are drawing lines in the sand, not understanding that this mindset has gotten us nowhere close to solving societal issues and just reinforcing the positions of each other, making it easier for the people exploiting the male loneliness epidemic for their own gain, while making everything orders of magnitude
I love
worse
Kira
for the
TV.
people involved.
He is my favorite
Who are
now, as
essentially
of this
just the
video.
victims.
As of this video.
That's the insanely profitable business of exploiting the male loneliness
He
epidemic.
sounds like the only sane person on YouTube to me, too. That's the other weird part. He sounds like he's sane. Rest of them don't. Most of the personalities I listen to, I think they're good at providing an image, and then when you get down to it, they're kind of crazy underneath there. I don't think Kira's probably crazy. I doubt it.
Thanks for watching.
I mean, I'm sure he's crazy. I just don't think he's, like, bad. I don't think he's a bad person. Oh, God. I want to see if he did anything else yesterday. His name is Ash. Okay. I had a friend named Ash.
If I ask you right now, off the top of your head, to name the biggest game companies in the world, what would you say? Probably Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, maybe EA, Activision Blizzard, right? Throw in a couple of other big names for good measure. But not many people are going to say Tencent. Why? Because typically, we're not playing their games, are we? At no point do you open a video game and see the word Tencent on your screen. But Tencent is the world's largest video game vendor. Chances are, if you are a frequent gamer, you've opened a game that they own either fully or partially in the last month. You probably just didn't know about it. While companies like Microsoft and Sony create their own products, publish some others, and always slap their name on almost everything they do, Tencent has been silently acquiring everything they can in the games industry.
Oops. Shit, I forgot. I gotta relog. Oh, well, that's okay. I was gonna move on and get off Rust, but I do have to log in one more time and close my doors. Otherwise, what's the point of all those?
And not just the games industry.
And I'm gonna go hunting across Nexus for other mods. Okay, this is everything I want from this. We will go... I don't think I want animation. I don't think I want armor. I mean, I don't know. Let's see what the animation big ones are. And we will fire up Rust again and log in again. Lowered weapons. Better female walk, atomic lust, female sexy sitting, power armor, fast exit, netter. Okay, I want that. That is actually really good because one of my problems with power armor is how much time it takes to get in and out of it. So let's fix that. So then, okay, now we're going to Rust and okay, we're good. Download for power armor. Right, Tencent, and I have to pee real quick, guys. I'll be right back. Oh.
So first, let's talk about how Tencent started to take over the world. Let's just say in 1998, a small group of friends decided to copy then popular messaging app called ICQ. They exploited the marketing for ICQ by naming their version OpenICQ or OICQ. Eventually, they were legally forced to change it, which resulted in the name QQ. Things at this stage weren't going all too great because monetizing social media apps is hard. Just ask Reddit, Twitter, or Facebook. The only things of value they have are advertising space and data on their users to sell. Luckily, they eventually received some much needed investment from the least likely of places, South Africa, and a company called Naspers. After that, they go public and money issues are a thing of the past. Now, it's time to move on and crush the opposition. So what do you do when you're a massive corporation with an app that almost all Chinese people use, but you also have other products you want to release and competitors are already occupying that space? Well, if you're Tencent, you simply disable the social media app that everybody uses if your other apps aren't the only ones being used, just like they did with their QQ Doctor antivirus software. Essentially, Tencent used their audience as a hammer of billions of people. Either uninstall our competitors' software or don't use the app anymore. And obviously, everyone did exactly what Tencent wanted. It wasn't really a choice at all. Any company that tried to enter the Chinese market was in for similar underhanded tactics. It didn't matter how big they were. Even Microsoft failed to make headway in the market with their MSN Messenger. Tencent just copied all their features and waited for the inevitable victory when Microsoft pulled out, killing support for their failed adventure to this market. Copying, of course, is something that is not so frowned upon pretty much anywhere, but especially not in this region, which is how Tencent got their start in the gaming industry. If a Western game was popular and could easily be copied, looking worse, playing worse, and having worse monetization, well, it probably was being built so, and Tencent was sometimes the architect. This strategy worked out even better since the Great Firewall of China made outside media harder to access for most of the population, resulting in a perfect way to grow domestic market share for Tencent. Now, not everything was being ripped off though, because all those big game companies we mentioned at the start of this video, well, those and many more needed Tencent in order to tap into the Chinese market, which of course is incredibly lucrative. Companies are required to work through a Chinese business in order to do business in the country, such as distributing video games. That means other companies had a pretty clear choice in front of them. Either wait for Tencent to release a similar version of their game, likely killing the chances of their game ever releasing there anyway, which would of course reduce profitability to zero in that region, or make a deal with Tencent to publish on their behalf, paying them handsomely to do so.
Oh,
most big companies
you
obviously
closed
chose the
out,
latter,
you piece
as
of
some money
shit.
is better than no money. And realistically, when you see how big the Chinese numbers are for the bottom line, who can really blame them? Now, if you know a single Chinese person, whether they're from the country, have ever visited, or are just ethnically so, you probably heard them mention the word WeChat. Everyone has it, everyone uses it on an almost daily basis. Shit, I think if you even have a Chinese friend, chances are you even have WeChat. In January of 2011, the first version of WeChat, which was originally called Weixin, was released. It was called a super app, and if you ever used it or looked into what it does, there's absolutely nothing like it in the West. It does literally everything you could ever need to do on your phone, basically. And that's why it has over 1.67 billion active monthly users.
Wow.
Yes, almost a quarter of the planet's population uses this app, and you might not have even heard of it. This gave Tencent an essential monopolization on a large number of industries domestically, and the ability to grow that monopoly whenever they wish to add new features to the app that everyone already used. After all, why would you have an Uber app when you can just have WeChat installed? Why have alternative methods to pay for things when you have WeChat installed? Sometimes Tencent gave companies a choice of partnership with the app, if partner or choice are even the right words for this. Basically the same choices they gave foreign video game developers. Either work with us to reduce our workload and pay us money for facilitating your business, or eventually we'll just do it ourselves and you'll be forced out of the market because no one in their right mind is going to stop using WeChat at this stage. This obviously makes the Chinese government all very happy, since essentially this centralizes the country's data, as well as that of overseas citizens with a singular app, an app that they had access to, of course. Data is knowledge, and knowledge is power, as they say. There are, of course, many examples of people being unable to send messages or make posts using the app if it contains words critical of the government or a current happening that they don't want discussed. Even warnings being issued to people over their negative sentiment. There's, of course, a deeper rabbit hole to go down here, with documented cases of incredible levels of spying, control, and intimidation, but that would be an entire video in and of itself. Suffice to say, China, like all other governments, are very interested in what their citizens are doing, and Tencent provided them with a one-stop shop for exactly this. So why do I even bring this up when talking about Tencent and their growing tendrils into the rest of the world? Well, some experts and of course Western media outlets say for this specific reason, the China 2049 Global Initiative. In the Communist Party's words, they want to, quote, lead the world in terms of composite national strength and international influence, which many in the West translate into, we want to be the big dog. And one of the ways they could begin to do that is, of course, leveraging corporate interests across the globe, and Tencent has been doing just that. Since around 2010, they've been buying up indie game studios and shares in the biggest companies on the market, with almost no one really batting an eye. Riot Games, they own it. Epic Games, the company that is pushing a game engine that thousands of games are built on per year with growing market share each year, well, they own 40% of that. For now, who knows in the future. They also wholly own Funcom, Leyou, and Sumo Group. They own majority stakes in some of the largest indie publishers and developers in the West, such as Grinding Gear Games, and worryingly, tens of billions of dollars split across much of the industry, such as Activision Blizzard, Paradox Interactive, Frontier Developments, Krafton, Kakao, From Software, Netmarble, and of course, Ubisoft. There's of course a lot of companies I'm not listing here, and if you basically just Google the word Tencent and acquisition, you'll basically see at least one article every month or so of a studio you know about with a popular game or franchise where Tencent have just bought them, or at least a massive share. Basically, if you own a successful game studio, chances are Tencent has either bought you, offered to buy you, or will do in the next few years if this pattern of behavior continues. Not only that, they've also put tens of billions of dollars into apps you likely use on a day-to-day basis. Discord, Spotify, Reddit, Snapchat, and of course more. They own a part or majority of 600 different companies at this stage, and they don't appear to be slowing down in this regard. They are an incredibly fast-growing company and a major player in the global economy, specifically now in Western tech. Now this all sounds pretty normal, right? Big company buying shares in other companies and making money. But many people question Tencent's motives, some even going so far as to question whether the CCP has put them up to this task specifically. After all, let's examine a few key points here that might slip the radar for many people. If you were to go on any social media app right now and discuss a Chinese created or owned app, chances are you're going to be told it's spyware. Of course you are. If you go to the Western page for downloading things that you know are owned by a Chinese company, it might even have low review scores based exactly on this sentiment. Not saying I agree, I'm just telling you how people see this. But Tencent owns all of these companies and participates in many more, and yet nobody treats these companies or products at all in the same way. Do you see people leaving one-star reviews on Riot Games' massively growing platform and games due to this ownership and potential risk of, this big spying? No, of course you don't. People just play those games. And there's one reason why. Because you never see the logo or the name Tencent on any of these products. Because they've grown their share of the industry in complete silence. And to what end? Well, I can't give you the end goal, obviously. But what I can give you are clear as day examples of the censorship that envelops China spreading to the West right in front of our eyes. You might remember the infamous Activision Blizzard Hearthstone incident involving Blitzchung, a player who during a winner's interview showed support for Hong Kong during the riots, stating specifically to liberate Hong Kong. For this, Activision Blizzard banned him, fined him his winnings, fired the two casters for being present during the interview, and this of course led to a massive backlash for which Blizzard apologized on multiple occasions, as if we're not used to seeing that already. This is one small example by a company that is only 5% owned by Tencent, but of course do lots of business in the region and don't want to upset people there. So much so that it looks like, at least from an optics standpoint, that they cared more about that than their Western reputation. Now, if that's what 5% and some business in the region does to you, then obviously the more ownership, the more of a problem this is going to be. And there is a wiki link that details many such other examples of Western censorship due to financial ties in China. And I think this is going to illustrate the point that I'm making about the issue with where the industry is headed right now. Now, I do also want to say a few important things, because this video exists to inform you about something you may not be aware of, not to witch hunt people or paint this as anything other than what it is. The core issue here is not Tencent operating as many mega corporations do. Tencent are a company that is doing business how almost everyone else does business too. The issue is, has, and always will be, with their master, the CCP. During the 2020 China tech lockdown, they punished companies like Tencent, wiping billions of dollars off their short-term valuation and trillions of dollars off the market. A reminder that despite being compliant, it might not be enough. This happened for a multitude of reasons, mostly due to Chinese companies' treatment of domestic customers and their data, funnily enough due to the risk of Chinese data falling into foreign hands. And while this video obviously focuses on Tencent due to not many people knowing just how big they are becoming in the industry, that doesn't mean we don't have many of these same issues at home. Meta has been found guilty of data privacy concerns. Google, Microsoft, Apple, they are all essentially spying on you too. And many of these companies collaborated with the NSA to tap into your data for mass surveillance. Not just that, but your private data is sold off to private entities on a regular basis. Does this mean that you should stop participating in all media, whether foreign or domestic? No, clearly not. That's not a viable solution. But what it does mean is you should be informed on what's going on, especially when there is nothing visible on the products. If you're using something, you should probably know who owns it and also then be able to make an informed decision. It should also be noted that according to Tencent and popular consensus, they do try to remain hands-off when they own the majority or entirety of foreign business. But I will also say that isn't always going to be the case, and they probably are only doing so while you're doing what they want and making as much money as they expect you to. So in the end, we are of course in a hyper-capitalistic society where individuals and companies act in their best interest to maximize their financial gains. This is not really any different than what we're used to. They just serve a different master than the companies we already routinely use on a day-to-day basis without blinking an eye. Today it's Tencent in China, tomorrow it's somewhere else. It never really ends. There may not be ethical consumption under capitalism, but awareness in the tech world is free. The agency to decide what we use should fall on an informed user. If this was any other company from any other region, from any other country, we'd still be having this discussion. But when it's one that we know has, of course, ties to the CCP and, of course, the censorship that comes with that, obviously this is something people should know about. So is Tencent an evil mega corporation that's coming for you? Probably not. But their growing control in the industry is one that you should definitely keep an eye on.
Alright. I don't see a download. God, there was so much more to do. I had no idea. I was not ready. I thought I was ready, but I was not. I was not ready. Alright, just surf and Fallout. Nexus. Yeah. Okay, 42 hours in the base. Gonna log off Rust for the day. Oh wait, no, never mind. I want to feed the horse. Was the other thing I was gonna do. I forgot. Yep, gonna go feed that horse. I love it that I can't hear the horse. That's part of. I'm gonna. This is my permanent base design. I think actually. It's kind of crazy. I need a shotgun trap, but I'm not that worried about it. Okay. That horse died pretty fucking fast. Oh well. Easy come, easy go. Okay. Yeah, we're good. Quit out. Base is doing good. Now, weapon debris. Did we get this one? Yes, we did. Workshop spotlight fix. Let's do this one. Try to get all the stuff that could crash me out of here. Yeah, I really would like a buggy experience. I don't think that one. I am tired of that. I love lever actions and fix all the problems. Okay, now we load Skyrim. Skyrim. Okay, so never mind, I have a better version of that. Okay. Now I wish to run BG. Yes.
I always miss the people I break up with. I need to learn to aim better with my bow.
Yeah, did we sleep? Yeah, it appears that I slept, yeah. And then it's 10 in the morning, and... Out of the way, please.
Oh. Is this your idea of girl and girl
Of
action?
all Kajit Ahmed, you
What?
are the nicest.
I heard someone say it. I'm not even sure what it means.
Oh, cauldron. I'm starving now. Excuse me.
I'm bored.
Oh, I got 2 of them. $22. Weak ass bandit. Out. My girl will sing while I loot your bodies. Oh, this is Helgen, huh? Okay. Well, you want me to go where? Where do you want me to go? Oh, south? Oh, yeah, okay. They're coming around. Yeah, they are. I want cover. They're like stuck there. They'll show in a second, but they can't seem to get around the corner. I don't know. Maybe I can get an elevated position on them. Might be good. There's 3 of them. There they are. I'll fuck you up.
God, no.
You are not welcome here.
I love a good fight.
There is no more life
here. We're going south. Oops.
Oh, sorry.
Well, look who it is.
What's up, Rayloff? I'm alright. How about you?
Good to hear. I need this to go well. This is my first real command since they promoted me after Whiterun.
Fuck yeah. I'm gonna get your back, buddy.
Some nights when I close my eyes, I see the battle stretched out before me. Like I'm still there.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
Do the men you've killed haunt you?
Yeah.
Mine do.
I've never killed anybody in real life, so I don't know.
I suppose you're right. They say it gets easier. I'm not sure if that's a good thing.
It's not.
But never mind all that. We've got a job to do. We found a cave under the lake. With luck, it'll lead into the prison. I need you to sneak in there and free our men, killing anyone inside as you go. Once you've rescued the prisoners, head out to the courtyard. We'll stand guard out here and rush in as soon as we hear fighting. Should be fun. I have faith in you. But if you find more trouble than you can handle, run out to the courtyard. We'll come as soon as we hear fighting.
Hi there. I'm glad that my mother cannot see me right now.
Oh! And he shot me in the hand and it killed me. Dirty bastard.
flee.
'em. Who am I kidding? I love to boast.
Kind of brutal, isn't it?
That's it. That's all you've got.
45.
I normally like to see them eat victims before I kill them, but I'm gonna try to start going a frenzy on my sister.
What's up, Hop? How you doing? Good to see you, buddy. Pop-up houses, Beantown interiors, Beantown interiors, system of development streets, DC interiors, the border building up for you to explore. Okay. That's everybody? Yeah, that's everybody. So... Gonna switch to Fallout 4 when I'm done modding it, but gotta keep modding it.
You will be so...
Oh, okay.
Do something. Help.
Garbage.
Abrupt end to our game.
Yeah, Rust 2 is in the works. So yeah, it's been confirmed by Gabe Newell, who decried the Rust 1 engine for being Unity. Big news, you know, I've been saying it for 3 years, and I had a whole bunch of garbage crab Rust players fucking yell at me because I said the Rust engine was garbage. But then Gabe Newell, the guy who made Rust, sat there and told the whole fucking world that the Rust engine is garbage and that he would never use it Unity ever again. And this was big news. And all those garbage crab people who thought I was an idiot and told me to my face like what they thought of me when I said that. I posit that Gabe Newell agreed with me. Gabe Newell, or no, I'm sorry, not Gabe Newell, excuse me. Gary Newman. Gary's mod guy. Gary and Helk agree with me. The Rust engine is a disaster. Fucking disaster. I've been doing this 30 years. I know a bad engine when I fucking see one. The engine for Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was more solid than the engine for Rust. And they're the both same open world with the same kind of complexity and all that shit, but San Andreas didn't have San Andreas slogged along like frame rate wise, but it definitely didn't have the bugs that the fucking Unity engine that Rust uses does. I think the Rust engine is garbage. So now Gary came out and said this week. He was like, "Yeah, I'm never using the Unity engine again." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm right. Yeah, vindicated, and I'm right." You know what I'm saying? Apparently, Rust 2 might actually be in the works. Unity is starting to charge face punch per download. Absolutely, yeah. So exploiters are going to start mass downloading Rust, try to bankroll them. So they're going to work on their own game engine, I believe. Oh yeah. Not sure what Rust 2 means, if it'll be an entirely different game or if it's just the same game on a different engine, essentially. Knowing the current age, Hop, it's going to be the same game with a new engine. There hasn't been a new game like Rust yet. There's no new game like Rust. Maybe New World is a new game like Rust, but I mean the population of New World still sits at like 30,000 concurrents. I mean, There's no real new Rust, and there's no new Minecraft. They don't have the concept. I can tell you what new Rust 2 should be, but won't be, Hop. It'll be terraforming. Now, maybe Hulk and Gary think that they can bring terraforming to Rust. But my problem is the only people that have ever been able to do terraforming right are Minecraft and Terraria on really old crappy engines, right? So we know that if you want 3D and pretty graphics, that's all well and good, but a huge voxel sandbox with fucking, terraforming and stuff. Oh, you know who came close to it, believe it or not, is Valheim. Valheim is more closer to Rust 2 than anybody else. Right? Valheim was the closest thing to an evolved Rust in the respect that there is terraforming in Valheim. And when I saw the terraforming in Valheim, I was like, Rust could do this. I believe Rust could do this. Watch. Yeah, like the
hey
base.
Everyone, welcome back to Valheim.
Like, so there's
that right below us, so you can actually.
So yeah, Valheim actually did what Rust couldn't do,
and you can see it,
which was a third person camera, and B. All the same farming. Valheim's a very good game, and it's very cheap, and it's very small game. It's like a gig. And I love Valheim to death, but one of the things that Valheim did better than Rust was the terraforming. Now, where they limited is they did not want people going down like Cement or Minecraft 15,000 layers deep or whatever. They limited it to like 10 layers, and the layers are only like a half foot or something like that. So you can go down about, I think it's like 9 feet or something like that. But that is cool and I could see Rust doing this, right? Rust 2 could do this, Hop, and I would be happy if you could build moats. And you could build a cave as long as the cave was only about 3 or 4, the same amount. You know how Rust only has about 6 stories or something? I think we should only ever go into the ground about 6 stories as well. So Rust 2 to me would be terraforming deep, so you could build a cave. The only other, you can have Rust 2. Rust 2 to me is Minecraft terraforming, but only like 6 stories deep, right? Not any deeper than that, which is how it works in real life too. You don't go more than 6 stories deep before you hit really bad bedrock and really freezing temperatures. So, and I want like 6 stories deep, and Rust would be amazing. And then down there at the bottom of the cave, you better have a Arctic hazy, right? And because it's freezing down there, and I don't see why we can't have minor terraforming. I don't want a Minecraft island where you can dig from one side of the fucking island underground like some kind of border breach. I'm talking about or long tunnels. Long tunnels are cool as long as they're only 3 stories deep. So, that's what I feel like. So I've seen Rust 2. I've seen it before. It's this. You're going to watch it right here.
Starting to raise the terrain underneath you. Now, it will.
You can raise it, you can lower it. Yeah, and this is what Rust 2 needs. And if they were to manage this, I think if Valheim was able to do this, I don't know why Rust can't do this. And so, yeah, Valheim, a $20 game that came out 4 years ago, something like that, outdid Rust when it came to not the building, but the terraforming, which was frankly sad. This is a $20 arcade game that, is only a gig that's entirely procedurally generated, yet it is universally, I think, more loved project than Hulk and Gary ever hoped to do with Rust. And so you can tell Valheim is like a baby pet project that the devs deeply, deeply care about. I'm not so sure that Gary and Hulk are very inclined to care about Rust's future very much, because they were successful. They live in their mansions. They have their great grandkids are going to be able to eat. They have royalties and face punch and all this stuff, and they're not billionaires, but they're definitely tens of millionaires, in a place where Kronor, or like where they live, it's like Kronor and stuff. Their money isn't all fucked up like America. So if you have like $100 million like Hulk and Gary does, you're okay. In places like Sweden, you're okay. you know, or wherever Face Punch is. I forget where it is. But you're okay if you have that kind of money. So terraforming is something that we could see in Rust 2. Now, I missed what else Hop said. I just saw the news today about it. Terraforming would not be liked by the community, I think. No, terraforming is universally liked by the community. What's the most successful game of all time, Hop? Minecraft. Terraforming is the most. I mean, that is ridiculous, Hop. Saying terraforming would not be liked by the community, I think, is ridiculous, Hop. Now, it would not be liked by the developers because it's a developer nightmare. But where they can fix it, right, is if they were to be able to force a door jam into the rock. You need a door jam, you need a door, and the community would love terraforming. Trust me, it's the doors that the community have a problem with. If Helk were to add in, right? Yeah, by the well, but why? What's wrong with that? I mean, it's the same. Now, okay, when you dig into the fucking ground, you would need certain ballasts and certain things to support the ground above you, or it's going to cave in if you do anything very big. So if you build more than like a 4x4, you suddenly have what would be called structural integrity that you deal with in cave living that was not realistic in the current cave living in Rust. In real life, if you're cave living, you need all kinds of ballast and support and support beams and stuff to keep the cave from collapsing. And there's a very funny story about this that I believe is actually, there's a very funny video about this that is apropos that I believe we should watch right now because it's excellent content for the stream and I've been wanting to do a rewatch of this. It's called The Cave by Internet Historian. If you guys haven't seen it, this is a wonderful story. So the cave is great if you give the community their doors, Hop, and if you keep the upkeep of the cave the exact same as it is up there on the real world with the same metal problems, the same stone problems, except it's translated in some other gameplay development that Face Punch would have to do, where they would have to like balance it through the upkeep of the cave with the support beams and the metal to keep it all running. Caves have the same issues, plus in a cave it's always freezing, so it's like living in the snow. It's something that nakeds wouldn't really want to do. Now, cave bases would drive people crazy, but cave bases are also incredibly fucking obvious. You can't really hide caves very well any more than you can buildings. Caves are very easy to find generally, you know. Yeah, well, no, because it's all doors. It would all be the same doors. No, it's the same doors. Okay, like, underground bunkers are work under the exact same fucking, what did I watch recently? It was like abandoned Swedish bunkers, I think it was, in World War II, or maybe it was Iceland, abandoned Iceland bunkers or something like that. I think it was like Iceland or Sweden, here we go. I watched this video. This video is amazing, Hop. So yeah, but see, you would never explode the walls. You would explode the doors. The doors remain the exact same thing as the upground. So, okay, if you build a fucking chonker that's like 6 stories high underground, you face metal stability just like any other underground building. It's the exact same as the upground. It would be. I don't see why the community would have a problem with it. I don't know why Helk would have a problem with it, really, because as long as the same door principles exist for a cave with the same upkeep principles that exist for a real base, why would they be any different? And then so the same 12-door raid that it is to kill a noob is the up on the ground is the same 12-door raid that it is to kill the cave base, or anybody could just walk in the cave, right? So the cave base suffers from the exact same door raiding problems that everything else does. I don't know why it wouldn't be feasible. It's exactly feasible. So, like, okay, so I'll show you on MS Paint because it's like fairly simple. So, yeah, I'll show you visually what I'm talking about here. So maybe it's hard conceptually to understand. So I understand that it's not as easy as this. We'll make it bigger so we have a little bit more room to work with, right? So here's a fucking 2x2 with a 3x1 upground base, right? Or let's call it let's call it a triangle hatch thingy with, it's honeycomb, right? Underground would look like this, right? So there's a slope and an entrance to the cave that you built. And you drilled in 5 tiles, right? And then you place the TC back here, and you've got your same thing that you got right here, right? Same thing that you got for a door entrance here. You've got 2, 3, 4 doorways, right? And in the back is a TC with a lock on it, right? Here's the TC, right? TC. I don't see why caves are any fucking different. Now the walls, caves are probably preferable because, but really the same terraforming that, so when they're digging, right? When they dig, right? They have to come in, right? They come in and so there's no reason why another person couldn't dig in top down to the top of the top of the roof, and the same boxes of tiles that they work with in Rust 1. They would just need to modify and change a little bit to be a little bit more forgiving for terraforming and stuff like that. And then they stick a box. I could do Face Punch better than Face Punch, and they do the same exact boxy shit that they've always done with the building. It's just that instead of building walls, you dig, and unless you, it's just like Minecraft, unless you put stone walls around your base, they can just dig down right to your fucking TC and come in through the wall with simply a shovel. That's it. So the same wall rules that you would need to apply. And with the next gen, they can definitely get the wall physics right, where, yeah, it's going to be difficult for them to make Rust 2, but this is what I want from them. And then I don't want it any deeper than 1, 2, 3, the same exact height that the normal Rust is, which is like, here's a base in Rust, it goes up 2, 3, and then a tower, 4, 5, 6, and maybe like a roof or whatever, right? 6 layers in Rust about when you're building or so, 6 stories, right? I don't see why it wouldn't apply here. Here's layer 1, here's story 1, here's story 2, here's story 3, here's story 4, 5, etc., right? And so each floor, 2, 3, 4 could be boxes that you'd have to dig out the whole fucking base. You'd have to shovel it just like Minecraft, but you reinforce the walls with stone, so anybody digging hits a stone wall, and they've got to blow through the same boxy walls that they do in a normal base. And I know this image doesn't make any sense now, but I can draw it all again. I can do it all over again. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's start over again. File, like new, new, right? Yeah. No, don't save, right? Yeah, it's hard to think of what it would look like. I could show you. It's Minecraft. What I'm talking about, man, is Minecraft, right? It's the exact same thing. I can load Minecraft and show you. Minecraft is no different from Rust, except Minecraft has no limit between sky and ground, right? I'm sorry, between surface and deep, right? Rust has a difference where the only deep that you can go in Rust is deep in the ocean or deep in a cave. You can't dig downwards. So, I'm talking about Minecraft. Rust 2 should be Minecraft. It definitely should be. Rust is one of the best builders ever made, like Minecraft. There's only a few builders out there, Hop. There's PUBG, there's I'm sorry, not PUBG, excuse me, Daisy, Minecraft. There's like 3 good builders, Hop. There's like 3. Terraria, if you count Terraria, there's like 4, maybe 5 if you count. Like, there's a few good builders now. There's like Unturned, and Roblox is a good builder, right? Building is the future, Hop. And if they don't bring building to Rust will die. And I can show you the simple, I'll show you the simple, like physics of what I'm talking about in a different game. I already just did it. The only difference is I haven't put doors down, so I'll show you the fucking principle, right? So I could build a base on the outside. Or I could build a base below, right? In survival mode Rust, right? And sure, the community wouldn't like the PvP in a cave. The community doesn't like caves. I don't like caves. They're full of corners, and they're full of bad peaks, and they're annoying to make, and they're annoying to get out of. And the community doesn't like caves, but the community absolutely, hands down, what's the most popular Western game of all time? It's Minecraft. And that is living proof that terraforming is the future. Like, Minecraft is proof that terraforming is the future, and anybody who doesn't adapt is gonna fucking fail. I mean, it's simple to see it. So on the outside, Hop, I built my Rust base. Right on the outside, you see a Rust base with a door. I haven't put any windows in it, but I could put windows in it for peaks, and I could shoot arrows out of the windows at the skeletons outside of my base, and I could be a roof camper in Minecraft the same way I could be a roof camper in Rust. Now, where Rust isn't as good as Minecraft is it ends there. Below the surface, you know, below this line right here, Rust ends right here at the baseline of the ground. It ends. Now, in Minecraft, it does not end. It just keeps on going. Ooh. I did not know he was there. I didn't hear him. I'm not a noob. I swear to God, I had no indication that he was even there. I'm sorry. Anyways. So we're back here again, and I don't want to get shot by him, but yeah, so I go in my base, right? I have a Rust base right here. Like, there's no roof on it. It's open core. I could put, if there was turrets in Minecraft, I could put turrets on the roof. There's turrets in Fallout 76, which also suffers from the problem that the game ends at the surface level on the floor. So here we go. This is the cave base that I'm talking about, Hop. You could extend it out to be, you know, you could extend it out to be left and right and do different rooms and stuff, but you would always only be able to terraform a tile. That's it, right? So a tile in Rust is what, 4 blocks, right? So a tile in Rust is 4 blocks. So when you're terraforming in Rust, all you would need to do to terraform in the land itself is have voxel boxes like this, voxel boxes like Minecraft, and you go terraforming squares deep, and terraforming squares deep looks like this in Minecraft. It looks like, you know, in Minecraft, it looks like this. It's like terraforming a tile deep, right? This is a Rust tile, right? So, yeah, I mean, this is, so now, the only difference, the only reason the community wouldn't like the cave is because you couldn't be able to defend the cave with doors. My solution to that is Rust has always had doors. Why wouldn't you be able to make doors? So you just go pull some wood to make a wood door. I don't know how to make wood fucking doors, or I don't know. What's a door? I don't remember. You know, whatever. Oh, that's a furnace. Oops. So you said, especially with the Rust, the graphics, it's just hard to visualize with all that terraforming things. How would the map revert back? Do you want the terraform to stay permanent? That's the main thing I'm worried about. The terraform stays permanent if the walls remain there, right? So if the walls are there, they're bearing weight, and they consist of stone. If somebody comes in and kills your TC and your base crumbles, the stone will crumble because you don't have the upkeep to keep the load bearing before the age of decay and time eventually causes your roofs to collapse in. All roofs collapse. It's Newtonian physics. What goes up must come down, right? It's Newtonian physics. So eventually all roofs collapse, and in Rust this is called decay. But I mean, you know, it's good. So decay is good. It keeps the game honest. It means that all bases eventually end, and there's no tyrant bastards with five years of shit stockpiled and 50 billion turrets that you can't get past. You would never want to. Decay and resets are good. Minecraft decays and resets, I guess, at least in multiplayer, I think. So it's just sort of crazy. It's this terraforming, it's needed. And so what Rust doesn't have is this ability to dig down, right? Like Minecraft does. Ooh, Rust doesn't need like mining. I mean, it does, but it doesn't need this kind of mining like Minecraft does for crafting. I mean, all we need is metal and sulfur. It could remain that simple, right? We don't need the Minecraft crafting. We really don't. It's too complicated for a shooter like Rust. What we do need, however, is terraforming. I want to be able to put doors every 4 blocks like a tile. And so here's a tile in Rust, and I go door. Here's a tile in Rust, I go door. Down here is where I want my TC, so I put door here, and I don't know why Rust couldn't have terraforming. Minecraft has it. Now, where Minecraft goes way deeper is it'll go many layers deep. You see, it'll just, oh shit, right, he's right outside my door. Sorry, I forgot he was there. I let him in my base, I think, which is very bad. No, don't kill my base. Don't kill my base. Don't kill my base. You fucking asshole. Oh my god. Oh, you fucking asshole. I don't have a sword for some reason. Don't have a sword for some reason. Don't have a sword for some reason. Watch the barrier curse. It erased my swords. I definitely had 2 swords when I logged yesterday, but I don't have 2 swords now because that's what was going to be required to kill the Skycat was a loss of my swords. So the game erased my swords. It did. I have never in my Minecraft life ever not had swords. Not ever. So I don't know what happened last night, but yeah, whatever happened on this game, my swords got erased. I had 6 swords in this base, and they're all gone. All of them. So now it's not like I used them. They're fucking straight gone, and that makes it really sus for me. A little sus. I see this in Rust all the time, but it's crazy to see it in another game. Yeah, fuck you. This guy. Asshole. My god, how many arrows are you fucking shooting? I don't know. That's bad. Oh, jeez. Well, at least he's out of my base, you know? Yeah, I didn't make it, but at least I can shut the fucking base now. Wow, you suck. You suck so bad. Now I'm gonna go back and away from this guy, so hopefully he just, like, resets or... Okay. I fell 2 feet and died of fall damage. Great design, Mojang. Really commendable. Chef kiss on that one. Really great fall damage. Piece of shit triple anus developer with no clue. That fall damage is a fucking joke, and I won't forget it either. I'ma hit you. If I ever meet the Mojang guy, I'd be like, what's with the fucking joke of a fall damage joke? And he'll be like, oh, I really like torturing children. You can't fall 4 feet. No, it's deadly. Falling 4 feet is deadly. It'll kill everybody. It'll kill the child. It'll kill strong, survival-focused adult. Falling 4 feet in Minecraft will kill you. It'll kill you. 4 feet is deadly, guys. Don't fall 4 feet. Don't be falling 4 feet, man. Deadly as hell. More scary than an explosion or zombies or bullets. Don't ever fall 4 feet. Don't fall 4 feet in video games, guys. Don't fall 4 feet. Don't fall 4 feet, man. 4 feet is deadly. It kills. It's more deadly than cigarettes. It's killed more people. Falling 4 feet. Fucking idiot developers. Anyways, we're going to watch something funny now to get me off that bad taste that fall damage kill left in my mouth. And I'm sorry, but you can say it to the developer's face. It's not like I'm being hyperbolic about this. I would say it to his face. Oh, yeah. See that smile on my face? I'd say it to his fucking face. I'd be like, yeah, remember that joke of the fall damage in 20 years of Minecraft? Ooh. Gotta keep me away from these guys. Keep me away from them.
Making these edges, which is gonna make you fall off. If that happens, you can always quickly level like that and then
so cool.
raise ground, so you have a little bit more of a flat area to stand on.